Welcome back, everybody, to the Internet's Talk Show. It's episode 3 of WatchHollywood.tv. .tv. That's where you go. That's right. I'm Frank Moran, here, right here, joined by Dr. Norbert Kraft. And then, as well, introducing here Dr. James Kass here, who is also working on the Mars 1 expedition with Dr. Kraft. So, Dr. Kass, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, as we were setting this all up here together, Dr. Kraft brought up that this is what it's going to be like for everybody on Mars kind of contacting Earth. This is what it's going to be like trying to communicate like this.
Well, it's going to be a lot worse, actually, because there will be at least a 40-minute delay sometimes when you're talking with somebody and trying to get back to them.
So now, I asked Dr. Kraft about his first involvement with what kind of sparked his interest about space exploration and working on the space mission. For you, I understand it was seeing the first landing on the moon, Neil Armstrong stepping out there. Was that really just sparked your imagination?
Well, actually, my imagination was sparked much earlier when Yuri Gagarin went up into space. Back in 1961, I was a school pupil, and we were all debating, did he really go up there, or did the Soviets just simulate it and claim that he was up there? And we weren't very sure. And then afterwards, a few weeks later, the Americans got up there, and then John Glenn a bit later with the proper orbit. So that was the time I was very excited about space flight. And I was just 15, 16 years old. And in those days, it excited me so much, I took every book out of the library and read it from cover to cover, whether I understood it or not, about rockets, stars, but there wasn't very much about human spaceflight.
So now, how was it though when you see Neil Armstrong step foot on the moon for the first time? Where were you?
That was quite something, and it was particularly fantastic when you consider it was only 8 short years from the first announcement that they would land on the moon, and they had almost no rockets. They had not even done anything with human spaceflight, and they had just begun to send their first satellites into space. So in 8 or 9 years, they achieved fantastic technological fantasy. And I was there glued to the television and watching that first step as the big statements were made. Yes, it was extremely exciting.
Now, I guess when you think about it, as well as Dr. Kraft, when you think about technology, the way it advances, if you think just about the computer, how far it's come in just the time that it's been conceived, it's gotten smaller. It's been, now it's in your hand. We have phones that can just search everything. But if you think about space exploration, you see 8 years they really made that big advancement there. But since then, in the 40-plus years since then, I feel like space exploration and discoveries have kind of slowed down, as opposed to while everything else is kind of technologically advanced up. Why do you think that is?
Yes, this is a theme in a recent space days here in Noordwijk, which is in The Hague, which is not far from the European Space Agency Technology Center. We were discussing this very question about these long delays today. Of course, you must remember in those days there was a race between Americans and Soviets. Which system is better, capitalism or communism? Which was both, the reasons for the race was rather rubbish. But the fact that the race was there was probably a good thing. And the Americans put in about 4% of their GDP into the space project, and there was great motivation. There was excitement everywhere that they wanted to move forwards quickly. And with that great motivation, they were able to do it. And nowadays, the bureaucracy has increased drastically. All the measures to make everything super safe has increased drastically. The number of people in between. When I first did my first spaceflight mission in 1983, as a scientist, I was communicating directly with spaceflight in space on the space shuttle, talking with the crew several hours. In my last mission, the STS-107 in 2003, we weren't allowed to talk with the crew. Somebody from Boeing had to do it for us. They were supposed to know better what we wanted. It was, the whole situation had changed. There was a whole massive bureaucracy that had gotten into place, and very little funds. They had to be distributed everywhere. All the big companies and all the wonderful frame contracts and the hundreds of administrators and other people in between. Things changed a lot. And I can assure you we all became very discouraged. You know, the Columbus module, from the first inception of the idea, and I was involved in it back in 1990, until it got launched, was in the just a few years ago. It took something like almost 20 years or 18 years, 20 years to get into space, and some people will even say 28 years from the first inception. And that's just for a canister. So this is a totally ridiculous situation. So the agencies have in many ways failed. And this is where we hope that some of these private ventures might get the momentum going, actually maybe have some successes.